everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Caitlin from Cozy Knits, and today we're going to make the Pocketful of Sunshine cardigan. It is a chunky knit or bulky weight knit, if you will, and this tutorial is just for the knitting portion of the pattern. The fun little pockets I have here, the sunflower pockets, are a crochet pattern, so that is in a separate video that I will link at the end of this video for you. For your reference, I am wearing a size small, but I did include a size guide for you if you wanted to make up to an extra large. I just wanted to talk about the construction of the pattern. We are going to be starting from the bottom up and working the back panel up and over our shoulders, down the front, seam the sides, and then we're going to work the sleeves in the round. So it's actually a pretty simple knit, very basic. If it's your first time knitting a cardigan, then you've come to the right place. And with the bulky or chunky weight yarn, it's actually a pretty quick project too. So once we have the cardigan finished, I did pick up some stitches around my collar here just to add a finishing little touch. Just looks a bit more finished. So that is the last step, and then like I said, the pockets are a crochet pattern, and that will be linked at the end of the video. If you are not a crocheter, then this can be a tricky one, but I think with the color pocket, just a plain knit pocket would be a really fun pop of color, and it'll still fit with that name, Pockets Full of Sunshine. So with that, I think we have everything, and let's get started. Okay, we have a new project happening. This time we are going to be using the chunky yarn from Malabrigo. It's 100% merino wool, and it's a bulky size. So here's some information for you. If you haven't heard of this stuff before, it is super soft and just lovely to work with. So I've got 5 skeins set aside in the natural color, and I'm not sure how many I'm going to need yet, but I'm planning for 4 or 5. And then we are using the 8mm needles or US 11 knitting needles, and I've got mine on about a 20-inch length cable, but whatever size cable you want to use, probably more than 8-inch. And then you're going to need the other usual things like scissors, and there will be some seaming, so you're going to need one of your little needles here. And I always recommend bringing your measuring tape to the game because you're going to want to keep track and measure. And then I do have my 8mm needles on my 8-inch cable set aside just in case I decide to use those for the sleeves. That's what I used on my last project, and I found working in the round that the smaller cable was excellent to use, just going round and round. So I'm going to make a small. The size is supposed to be a little bit oversized, and I did a gauge with my 8mm needles just in a stockinette stitch, and over a 4-inch section I had 11 stitches and 16 rows, so that's about 2.75 stitches per inch. So I rounded that up to 3 just to make the numbers a little bit easier. So I'm going to cast on 60 stitches for a width of 20 inches across my shoulders, and that will make mine fit like a little bit of a drop shoulder. So check your gauge and check your measurement, how wide you want the shoulder width to be. So I always put mine just a little bit below my shoulders, and then just multiply 3. Bring the long tail cast on, and we are going to do a knit 1, purl 1 for 10 rows to start. And I am not even counting this cast on, so I'm going to have to go back and cast on. Oh, one other thing you're going to need for working in the round later on will be some sort of stitch marker. So also have something like that on hand. Okay, I've done 7 rows and I'm at about 2 inches now, so I I'm happy with that. I always say 10 rows as a goal, and with the chunkier yarn, I don't feel like it needs to be 10. So around 2 inches is where I'm gonna go, and that was about 7 rows, but it looks like 8 because of that cast on one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it looks like there's 8 rows. Anyway, 2 inches. So now we are just going to knit and then purl for a buttload of rows. So this is going up to your shoulders. We're working on the back panel right now. And this is the easy part, the fun part. So yeah, just knit this row, next row purl, and continue that until you get to the length that you want for your cardigan. I'm aiming for around 22 inches. I'll see how I feel when I get up there. Okay, guys, settle in. Okay, I've completed the back panel for my sweater. It's very hard to get it all in the shot here, but I measured about 20.5 inches when I lay it flat. And anyway, that's what I'm happy with, so I'm gonna go with that. So now we're going to bind off at the shoulder here, and I just think that that's going to create a little bit more structure on the shoulder. So we're gonna bind off on the purl side and then pick up the stitches and work both panels of the front of the cardigan at the same time. So I wound up another ball of yarn, so that's ready to go. And this one here I'm working with is my second skein. So just over, I don't know, 1.5 skeins for the back panel here. So bind off doing purl rows. And when you get to the end, we will pick up our stitches. Don't cut your yarn. We're gonna pick up the stitches right away. Alrighty. I've done my bind off edge here, and so don't cut up your yarn. And then we're just gonna pick up our stitches right away here. So I'm gonna go right from the outer edge, and I'm gonna pull the yarn up through there, and then I'm going to pull it through the loop from the bind off edge on the other side. Okay, so now I've got 1 stitch on my needle, and I'm just gonna work my way across. Like that. Okay, so my back panel had 60 stitches, so I'm going to pick up 30 stitches with this skein, and then I'm going to switch skeins and pick up the rest of the stitches because I'm going to work both sides of the panel at the same time. That's not something you have to do. I just find that it goes a lot faster. So pick up your halfway point, and I might put a stitch marker in the middle just so that I remember and I don't have to work back, and then we'll get our second skein working. Okay, I've reached that halfway point, picking up my stitches. I grabbed a crochet hook because I found it easier. So now I'm just going to use the other skein and pick up stitches on this side. So I've got my little stitch marker here marking it up, but I'm just using my crochet hook to pull up the loops for me. And then I'm just slipping them on my needle. And continue picking up stitches, and then we're just going to do knit purl rows. Okay, so I have completed my front 2 panels, and it's so hard to get it in the shot, but I counted back the rows that I did on the back panel, and then I added about 6 rows to the front panels just so that that shoulder seam sits just behind my shoulders and now I'm just doing a regular bind off here. So after I did my extra 6 rows on the body part of the front panels, then I did my 7 rows of the ribbing, the knit one, purl one. All right, I've done my ribbing and bind off edge for the front. So now I'm going to think about these seams on the side. I'm going to pin the side a little bit with my removable stitch markers here, and then I'm going to try it on, which is very important when you are making these garments. You need to try these on often, which is also my least favorite part. So I'm just going to add a few of these on the side here, and based on my last sweater, I had about an 8-inch space from the shoulder for my armhole. Yeah, from the top of your shoulder. So have this lined up at the bottom and then lay it flat. So there's a few extra rows on the front. So that's where it's going to sit. And then just do a measurement from here to wherever you think. Add your stitch marker and try it on. My nails done finally. Loving this color, very fall. Okay, so I know to start from the bottom, and you're working 1 stitch in, so I'm just going to go through the bottom cast on edge, pull up some string, yarn, whichever you want to call it, and then you go straight across. Whoop, I gotta untangle that. And then you're just gonna follow this line, working up the bars. So in that one, so here is my first sleeve here. Sorry, this is the best place I can find with some decent lighting in my house. Anyway, so I've done an 8-inch armhole, and as you can see, that's a decent amount of room for my arm. And so I finished seaming on this side here. So it's falling right at my armpit here for 8 inches, and I think that's a good fit. And then I've got that one there. Sleeve has been a bit of a nightmare because I tried to be fancy and I don't know what I was doing. But anyway, so what I've done is kept it at about an 8-inch hole, and from the hem to the sleeve, the armpit, sorry, is almost 14 inches or so. And what we did is I cast on in the round, I cast on 50 stitches. I picked up every 4 out of 5 stitches, and then I just worked in the round and did a decrease row every 6 rows. And then I have long arms, so I added a few extra rows after the last decrease, and then I just did the ribbing. So I did the same amount of ribbing as the bottom. And my sleeve is about 15.5 inches-ish or so. So I think it was about 55 rows. Almost 60 rows, 59 rows, and then I started doing the ribbing. So just keep it easy. I don't know what I was trying to do, but just keep it easy. So I've already gone ahead and counted how many what are these called? This is the seam. How many rows I seamed up. So I did about 46 plus the ribbing. So I'm going to do the same on this side. We're going to pick up every 4 out of 5 stitches. So there's the top of my seam. So I'm going to go to the next hole. Okay, so I'm going in the same line that I was doing for the seam on the side. Got a little bit of a tail. Okay, and I'm just gonna pull up 1 stitch, put my tail away. Okay, and I'm gonna keep going. So make sure you're going in the same line. Okay, that's 4, and then I'm gonna skip the next one. So pick up every 4 out of 5 stitches. I got about 50 stitches on the other side, so I definitely want to make sure I pick up the same amount for this side. Okay, I've done a few rows on my sleeve here. I count the cast on, the stitches picked up. That's so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I'm working on my 6th row. I count that first row just because it's easier to keep track of. So knit 1, knit 2 together, knit all the way around. Okay, now I'm at the end of the round. I've got 3 stitches left. We're going to do another knit 2 together, knit 1. Okay, and then we're going to knit for another 6 rows. On the 6th row, we'll do another decrease row. And with these decreases on the sleeve, we are working down to 32 stitches. So my cuff here is 32 stitches around, and my big mammoth hands fit in there just fine. So yeah, I keep forgetting to mention that. So there you go. All right, we are done both sleeves. Now it is time to add a little collar, because this keeps curling and that will make it look super profesh and finished. So I am on my 6th skein of this chunky. Kind of bummed that I couldn't get it done in 5, but we will make the most of this 6th skein. Okay, so we're going to go back to the long cable needles that we were using before, and we're going to pick up our stitches starting on this side, and we're going to pick up, I'm going to do every 4 out of 5 again. I don't want to sit down. Okay, and then we're just going to do a couple rows of knit 1, purl 1, back and forth. I haven't decided how many yet, but I'll let you know when I get there. This is a on-the-go design that you are along on the journey for, so enjoy. All right, I've completed my collar. I can never get the full shot in. I picked up 144 stitches. Maybe I'll just zoom out a smidge. 144 stitches, knit 1, purl 1 around for 5 rows. And then I just did your classic bind off. So there we go. We have our sweater all done. I have some more white left, so I was thinking about pockets. I don't know. Okay, but now we have the cardigan done, so now I have the optional pizzazz, if you will. That would be the next step. So either add some pockets or you're done. Okay, I have gone and done one pocket here. I've seamed it all on and it is freaking adorable. So now we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. I got the placement pretty much spot on, and I went back and I just counted how many stitches up from the ribbing I am, and that was 18. Make sure you go ahead and double count that you're putting your pockets in the same spot. And I'm gonna start in this top corner, pull some yarn through. And I've marked the stitch just above the one I want to be using, so I'm going to go underneath the stitch, and then I'm going to go through the next stitch down on the pocket, and then I'm going to come around this way, and so I'm going to go down one stitch and down one stitch here. Pull through, so it's going to kind of wrap around. You are all done. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy your new cardigan. And like I said before, I have the link for the pockets at the end of the video here. If this is a cardigan that you enjoyed making, you might want to check out the Color Me Cardi, another knitting pattern that is on my page. So check that one out if this one was good for you, and I will see you on the next pattern.